What's going on, y'all? It's the 1st of April, and you know what that means. A new TBR. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say that this is the biggest TBR I've ever done in a single month, and I'm being highly optimistic, and realistically, I won't get to all these. I have mapped it out so that if I follow my plan to a T, then I should be able to read all of these in a month and still have like a day or so. No, that's not true. This will put me almost exactly at the full month if I follow my reading plan to a T, because I added a couple. But let's see how it goes. So we're gonna kick the month off with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. It's a classic sci-fi satire novel, and the reason I'm starting with this is because I read like 20 pages because it's a book I've always been trying to get around to. And at the end of March, I had a few days before April, so I was like, well, I'll start this. And then I just didn't consistently read. I was catching up on some TV and stuff in the meantime. So I read like 20 pages of it. So I'll go ahead and kick the month off with that since I've started it. Next up is something I've been excited to do and was like, maybe I should try this in March, but I didn't think I'd be able to squeeze it into my reading schedule. So I've never read the Chronicles of Narnia, and I'm ashamed to say that as a grown adult who I feel like should be a childhood requirement to read. So I'm writing that wrong, and I am going to have a week on the channel here called Narnia Week, where it's going to be a vlog style thing where I will read there's 7 Narnia books. That's one each day of the week, so I can do a week and knock out the entire Chronicles of Narnia series. So I'm gonna read them that day. So it's gonna be rough because it's gonna have to be like after work. Hopefully I don't have anything going on. I'll probably have to get up early in the morning, start reading before work, read them after work most of the evening, and knock it out. And when I finish it, I'm going to do a video, kind of a vlog style video, just talking about it, and kind of like, I wouldn't even say a review, but just kind of like what I think so far, kind of how it's going, kind of if this is a good idea, if you should do a Narnia week yourself, kind of just do that. And I'll give an announcement video the day before it starts, and then probably have a video each day, and then possibly a wrap-up video, but I don't know. Next up, we have a box set which I purchased in March, which is going to be the Five Nights at Freddy's. So this is the first 4 of the Fazbear Frights collection. Like I said, I got big into the game theory Five Nights at Freddy's stuff, so I guess we'll see how that goes. They're pretty short novels, so this is going to be, again, 1 a day. So right now, I think I'm at 12 days reading plan. So if that's 1 each day, one of those books each day. Like I said, they're about 200 pages each, so that's pretty realistic. Like, I think even on a busy day, I can sit down and crank out 200 pages, even if that means I gotta stay up an hour later that night. Next up, this is a book I just bought recently, and this is a new edition, which could bust it. So this might be one of the books I read near the end of the month, but that's going to be made a digital purchase of Chuck Palahniuk's Haunted, which is a short story collection. So it might be one of those that's kind of interspersed. So like when I'm on a lunch break at work, I read a short story, and then I kind of do that here and there throughout the month and collectively read the whole Haunted. So we'll see how that goes. That might be one that kind of falls to the wayside. That'll probably be one of the first, probably the second one I toss if I can't get to it. Next up is now that the First Law trilogy is done as of March, moving into April, I want to kick back up on Book of the Faithful and the Fallen, so I'm going to Ruin. This is a must this month. Like, I was trying to stick to my TBR and not get too far out of bounds and start something like this, like a bigger novel. So the plan with this is it's like 700 pages, which means I think one day, if I have extra time, I can knock probably about 100 pages, 150 pages, and then on one weekend, I can at least do 300 pages in a day. with this being the third book and the pacing of these novels, this realistically could be a single day read if I just really crank into it one Saturday or Sunday afternoon, if I ain't got nothing else going on. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Next up, have Mouse. This should be about a day's read. It's not much as far as like length and everything. I think it's, if I had to guess, probably about 150 pages. I don't see page numbers in there as of like glancing through it, but it looks like it's about 150 pages. And like I said, it's a comic graphic novel style book, so it should be a pretty quick read. I think I can knock it out in a day. And these next two, I'm going to try to do a weekend. And like I said, I had a conversation on the channel with someone about these books, and that's Cormac McCarthy's No Country for Old Men and The Road. And the reason I am doing, like I said, I was really inspired by the people talking about Cormac McCarthy and kind of how he does it. So I was reading into some of his, like watching his older interviews and stuff, and I saw something super interesting that he does that really kind of got me excited to read some of his other works. And he doesn't do sequels in the usual way, but he does thematic sequels. So how the ending, the theme, or like the symbolism of one book ends kind of leads into the next, which I was like, oh, that's a really like a cool concept. And from what I've heard and what I've read, No Country for Old Men is the spiritual predecessor to The Road, which people say is their favorite novel of all time. So I'm really excited to dive into these. These, I think these might be like, if I have a weekend, this will be a Saturday, and one book will be, or No Country for Old Men will be Saturday, and then The Road will be Sunday. Because like I said, they're only like 300 pages or so. So I think I can get those into a weekend and really just mull those over before I put any videos out on them. Because those are probably going to be pretty like deep books. I've also heard No Country for Old Men is a great place to start into his work, Cormac McCarthy's work. I probably shouldn't have started with Blood Meridian. It's probably a little over my head, but that's how it goes. We got to dive in somewhere, and I prefer sink or swim. All right, moving on. We have Half Sick of Shadows. This was one of the book of the months that I got in March, and I'm really excited to check it out. Because like I said, for some reason I've been on this big Arthurian legend kick lately, and this is like a 400-page book, so I think I can do 200 pages in like a back-to-back day, crank that out. And then this is where things start getting dicey, because my previous TBR ended here without Haunted. And so we're going to see how this goes with these extra books. So I got Heart of Darkness, so I am not reading the entire short story collection. I am reading specifically Heart of Darkness. So that's a 100-page short story, or novella, however you prefer to call it. So I will just be reading that short story out of that book, which should be like roughly a day. Like I said, it's one of those deeper reads. I feel like I'm going to have to slowly digest. So I'm accounting for it taking a full, that'll be a full day of reading. Next up, like I said, I've had this book for a while, and I've watched videos and read about Arthurian legend, and it's kind of inspired this big kick I've been on lately. But I bought, I'm honestly not sure how you say this. I'd say Le Morte d'Art, or Le Morte d'Arthur. I'm not 100% sure. Anyways, it is the collected stories of Sir Arthur, or King Arthur, and the Knights of the Round Table, excuse me. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. This is honestly probably the first book that'll get kicked from the TBR if I can't manage, just because it is going to be dense, and these are older tales. And this is probably going to be a book that I slowly digest, and instead of just kind of rushing through it and reading as much of it as I can, I'll probably break these into short stories. So this could be like Haunted, something I kind of intersperse as I go throughout the month. Next up, we have another Chuck Palahniuk, Damned. I think I can do this in a day. Like I said, I feel like from what I've heard, Palahniuk's, or his writing's quick to read, and he makes things pretty exciting, so it's not something like that's a drag to get through. So like I said, I think pretty short book that I'm excited to check out because I've heard good things about it. And then lastly, I have Victor Boone Will Save Us, which is a book that I picked up at that con I went to last month. That is the other book from David Joel Stevenson that I read Surfaces in last month, and now I'll be reading his other book this month, which I think this one will be exciting. It's more of a superhero novel, so we'll see how that goes. And then, like I said, I don't know comic-wise what I'll get into this month. I know I'll read Saga. I will read that Wednesday morning when it comes out. But other than that, I might try diving into Vamps if I have like free time at work or something, or if I have free time in the morning before I go to work, or if I get real into a reading one day and finish early and then have extra time that evening, might try checking like something like that out. Might check Vamps, one of the Batman I got. Might try finally diving into or keep reading Fables, or what's the other one? I don't know. I have a bunch of comics that I've yet to start reading because there's so many free ones on Kindle Unlimited. So I've kind of just been diving in bit by bit. So, like I said, honestly, I don't even know how many books that was. Felt like a lot though. But I'm going to try to get all these in April, and we'll see what we can do. Lord willing, the TBR gets read, but if it doesn't, hey, that's what next month's for. All right, that's all I got for y'all. Hey, let me know what you are reading this month. I'd love to see if anyone else has got any ambitious TBRs, checking out any new series, any new authors, or if they're continuing series or reading some trusty old books that they love, or any rereads, any new things. Yeah, let me know what you all are reading down below. And until next time, stay reading, y'all.